The sprawling quantum research complex stood like a gleaming beacon against the backdrop of the New Mexico desert. Dr. Alina Mitchell stood at the observation deck, her eyes fixed on the experimental chamber below. 20 years of research, countless failed attempts, and 3 complete rebuilds of the facility had led to this moment. The Helios Drive prototype hummed with an otherworldly resonance, its quantum core pulsing with possibilities. "Final systems check complete, Dr. Mitchell," announced Dr. Raj Patel, her longtime colleague and head of engineering. "The quantum matrix is stable at 99.97%. Alina took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the activation sequence. Behind her, representatives from every major space agency on Earth watched in anticipation. The Helios Drive wasn't just another propulsion system. It was humanity's ticket to the stars. "Begin primary ignition sequence," she commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. The prototype's quantum core began to spin, creating a localized field that bent the fabric of spacetime itself. Theory suggested it could reduce interplanetary travel time by factors of hundreds, if not thousands. The chamber filled with a brilliant blue light as the drive engaged. Holographic displays showed readings that should have been impossible, yet there they were, defying conventional physics. The quantum field held stable, maintaining its integrity far longer than any previous test. "My God, Alina," whispered Director Thomas Hammond of the United Space Initiative. "You've actually done it." But Alina knew better than to celebrate too early. Previous tests had shown promise, only to fail catastrophically in the final stages. She watched the readings with practiced intensity, noting every minute fluctuation. The next 10 minutes would determine whether humanity would remain bound to chemical rockets or finally break free of their limitations. The test continued, each successful moment adding to the tension in the room. When the final countdown reached 0, the quantum field dissolved perfectly on command, leaving the prototype intact and operational. The observation deck erupted in cheers, but Alina remained focused on the data streaming across her screens. "Full containment maintained throughout the test," reported Dr. Patel, his voice thick with emotion. "Power consumption within predicted parameters. Alina, the field stability exceeded our most optimistic projections by 23%. The implications were staggering. With this technology, Mars would be reachable in days instead of months. The outer solar system, once the domain of decade-long missions, could be explored within weeks. Humanity's reach would extend further than ever before. But Alina knew this was just the beginning. Within hours, news of the successful test spread across the globe. Corporate interests, particularly the ambitious Stellar Dynamics Corporation led by the ruthless Vincent Drake, began maneuvering for control of the technology. "The private sector can develop this faster," Drake argued during an emergency UN session. "We need to commercialize the Helios Drive immediately." Alina found herself thrust into a political maelstrom. The technology she had developed could unite humanity in its quest for the stars, or become another source of division and conflict. During a crucial meeting with global leaders, she made her position clear. "The Helios Drive belongs to all of humanity," she declared. "Its development must be a collaborative effort, not a corporate asset." Her stance led to the formation of the United Space Initiative, USI, a global organization dedicated to advancing human space exploration for the benefit of all. Alina was appointed Chief Scientific Director, with a mandate to accelerate the development of quantum propulsion technology. As the first full-scale Helios Drive was constructed in orbit, Alina couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and apprehension. The quantum age had begun, and with it, humanity's true potential among the stars would finally be realized. "We're not just building engines," she told her team as they prepared for the first orbital test. "We're building humanity's future." The following months saw rapid advancement as the technology was refined and improved. The first Helios-equipped vessel, the USI Prometheus, was scheduled for its maiden voyage to Mars. As Alina watched the massive ship take shape in Earth orbit, she reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The quantum age had dawned, and with it, Humanity's greatest adventure was about to begin. But unknown to them all, their achievements had not gone unnoticed. Somewhere in the vast expanse of space, other intelligences had taken notice of humanity's quantum breakthrough, and the course of human history was about to change forever. Commander Jackson Hayes stood at the viewport of the USI Prometheus, watching the red planet grow larger with each passing moment. The Helios drive had performed beyond expectations, covering the distance to Mars in just under 4 days. Below him, in the ship's massive cargo holds, lay the components of humanity's first large-scale Mars colony, along with 5,000 carefully selected colonists in cryosleep. "Orbital insertion in 15 minutes, Commander," announced Navigation Officer Priya Kapoor. "The Phobos beacon is transmitting landing coordinates for Base Site Alpha." The preliminary robotic missions had already established the basic infrastructure, but this mission would transform Mars from an outpost into a true colony. Jackson had spent 3 years training for this moment, leading the most ambitious colonization effort in human history. "Begin wake-up sequence for essential personnel," he ordered, "and get me a direct link to Dr. Mitchell at Mission Control." The face of Alina Mitchell appeared on his display, her expression a mixture of excitement and concern. "The latest quantum scans from the site are showing something unusual, Jackson. We're detecting energy signatures that don't match any known natural phenomena." Jackson felt his pulse quicken. The automated surveys had revealed strange anomalies beneath the Martian surface, but this was different. "Are we looking at possible archaeological evidence?" "Too early to tell," Alina replied. "But whatever it is, it's not natural and it's not ours." The implications hung in the air unspoken. If they had found evidence of previous visitors to Mars, it would change everything. But first, they had to establish the colony. The next few weeks were a blur of activity. The massive colony ships descended to the surface in carefully choreographed sequences. Prefabricated habitat modules were assembled under the watchful eyes of construction drones. The Terraform Initiative, led by Dr. Naomi Zhang, began the process of atmospheric modification using advanced bioengineered algae. "The first-generation processors are functioning at 118% efficiency," Naomi reported during a colony council meeting. "At this rate, we could have a breathable atmosphere in less than 2 centuries. But it was the discovery beneath the colony that dominated everyone's thoughts. A team led by archaeologist Dr. Victor Rossi had begun excavating what appeared to be an artificial structure buried beneath millennia of Martian dust. "The material composition is unlike anything in our database," Victor explained, his hands moving excitedly over the holographic display. "And there are patterns, deliberate patterns, that suggest this was a monitoring station of some kind." Jackson ordered increased security around the dig site, but news of the discovery was impossible to contain. Back on Earth, speculation ran wild. Religious groups claimed vindication of ancient astronaut theories. Scientists demanded immediate access to the site. Corporate interests, led by the ever-opportunistic Stellar Dynamics, began lobbying for private exploration rights. The situation grew more complex when Dr. Zhang's team made another startling discovery. The bioengineered algae were evolving at an unprecedented rate, responding to something in the Martian environment that defied explanation. "It's as if something is guiding their evolution," she explained during an emergency briefing. "The atmospheric changes are happening 10 times faster than our models predicted." Jackson found himself at the center of a perfect storm of discoveries and challenges. The colony's population had swelled to nearly 10,000 as more ships arrived, bringing with them new questions and complications. Then came the signal. It started as a low-frequency pulse emanating from the excavation site. Within hours, similar signals were detected at other locations across the planet. The ancient structure wasn't just a monitoring station. It was part of a network, and that network was beginning to wake up. "We need to make a decision," Jackson told his council. "Do we continue to dig, knowing we might be activating something we don't understand? Or do we seal the site and focus on our original mission?" The debate was rendered moot when the structure began to power up on its own. Glyphs and symbols appeared on previously blank walls, and a message began to repeat in regular intervals. Dr. Rossi's team worked frantically to decode it. "It's not just a message," Victor announced one morning, his face pale with the implications of his discovery. "It's an invitation or a warning, maybe both." The signal had been detected by others as well. Back on Earth, Eleanor Mitchell's quantum sensors had picked up responses from deep space. Something or someone had heard the beacon, and they were coming to investigate. Jackson stood once again at the viewport of his command center, watching the sunset paint the Martian sky in shades of pink and gold. The colony's lights were coming on, creating a web of human presence on the ancient surface. In orbit, more ships arrived daily, bringing new colonists, new equipment, and new possibilities. Humanity had come to Mars looking for a new home among the stars. Instead, they had found evidence that they were not alone, and soon they would have to decide how to handle that revelation. The Mars colonization project had become something far more significant than anyone had imagined. Humanity's first step into a larger cosmic community. Ambassador Diana Rodriguez had practiced this moment countless times in simulation, but nothing could have prepared her for the reality of standing face to face with humanity's first confirmed extraterrestrial intelligence. The Centaurian vessel had emerged from quantum space precisely where the Martian artifacts had predicted, its crystalline structure defying conventional engineering principles. The meeting location, a specially constructed station in neutral space between Mars and Phobos, hummed with tension. Behind Diana stood a carefully selected team of scientists, linguists, and diplomatic personnel. Dr. Victor Rossi, fresh from his breakthrough in decoding the Martian artifacts, monitored the proceedings with barely contained excitement. "Atmospheric composition stable," reported Dr. Kai Nakamura, the team's xenobiologist. "Their environmental requirements are remarkably similar to ours." The inner airlock cycled, and humanity held its breath. The Centaurian delegation emerged, tall, elegant beings with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors with their movements. Their ambassador, who had transmitted their name as something approximating Lyrian, stepped forward with fluid grace. "In the name of Earth and the United Space Initiative, we welcome you," Diana began, using the universal greeting protocol developed from the Martian data. Lyrian responded with a series of melodic tones that the translation matrix interpreted with surprising clarity. "The children of Earth have finally awakened to their cosmic heritage." The implications of those words would be debated for years to come. The Centaurians, it emerged, were not the builders of the Martian artifacts, but had themselves been guided by similar discoveries in their own system. They were part of a loose network of civilizations, all emerging into quantum-capable status within the past few centuries. The knowledge exchange that followed transformed human civilization. The Centaurians offered insights into quantum mechanics that revolutionized Dr. Mitchell's original designs. In return, they showed particular interest in human creativity and adaptability. "Your species possesses a unique capability for innovative thinking," Lyrian explained during one session. "Most civilizations follow predictable technological paths. Humans improvise." But not all reactions to the alien presence were positive. Admiral Marcus Chen, watching from his command post on Phobos, voiced concerns shared by many in the military establishment. "They're being too generous with their knowledge. No species shares technology without expecting something in return." Diana found herself navigating increasingly complex waters. The Centaurians proposed establishing a permanent embassy on Mars, citing the planet's significance as a nexus point in the ancient network. Corporate interests, led by the ever-ambitious Vincent Drake, pushed for immediate technology licensing agreements. The situation grew more complicated when Dr. Zhang's terraforming project made an unprecedented discovery. The accelerated evolution of the Martian atmosphere wasn't just a reaction to the alien artifacts. It was part of a process begun millennia ago. "Mars wasn't always dead," Naomi explained during a joint human-Centaurian conference. It was engineered to hibernate, waiting for the right moment to reawaken. Commander Hayes, overseeing the expanding Mars colony, reported strange phenomena across the planet. Ancient structures were emerging from the shifting sands, responding to the presence of both human and Centaurian technology. The breakthrough came during a joint excavation project. A vast chamber, hidden beneath the Martian polar cap, revealed a holographic message left by the original architects of the system. The Centaurians called them the Seeders, an ancient race that had prepared multiple worlds for future civilizations to discover and inhabit. "We are not here by accident," Diana realized during a private conversation with Lyrian. "Our species were meant to find each other." But with this revelation came new challenges. Other quantum-capable civilizations began arriving in the solar system, drawn by the activation of the Martian network. Each brought their own agendas, technologies, and complications to an already complex situation. Diana found unexpected support from Dr. Eleanor Mitchell, who had traveled from Earth to study the quantum implications of the alien technologies. "We're standing at a crossroads," Eleanor observed. "Everything we've achieved so far has been preparation for this moment." The Centaurians proposed including Earth in a coalition of emerging civilizations, offering humanity a seat at the cosmic table. But they also warned of factions within galactic society that viewed new species with suspicion or hostility. As Diana prepared for the formal acceptance ceremony, she received an urgent message from Admiral Chen's security team. They had detected anomalous quantum signatures approaching the solar system, signatures that the Centaurians identified as belonging to the mysterious Shadowers, a civilization known for eliminating potential rivals before they could establish themselves. Humanity's first steps into galactic society would not be peaceful ones. As Diana looked out at the assembled representatives of Earth's nations, she knew that everything they had learned and built would soon be tested. "We did not come this far to turn back," she announced to the assembly. "Whether as allies or adversaries, humanity is ready to take its place among the stars." The Centaurian delegation responded with a gesture of approval, their skin shimmering with colors that the translation matrix interpreted as respect and anticipation. The age of isolation was over. Humanity had joined the galactic community, for better or worse. Admiral Marcus Chen stood in the Phobos Command Center, watching the quantum signature alerts multiply across the holographic display. The Shadowers' approach had triggered every defense system in the solar system. Behind him, his command staff coordinated with Earth's combined fleet, now bolstered by Centaurian technology. "Multiple quantum ruptures detected at the Kuiper Belt," reported Lieutenant Olivia Reed. "Configuration matches Lyrian's warning profile. Shadower Vanguard fleet, estimated 60 vessels." Humanity had spent the past 6 months preparing for this moment. The Helios drive vessels had been retrofitted with Centaurian defensive systems, while Dr. Mitchell's team had developed hybrid weapons combining human ingenuity with alien quantum science. "All colony ships to emergency stations," Marcus ordered. "Begin civilian evacuation to the underground shelters, and get me Ambassador Rodriguez." Diana's face appeared on the command screen, her expression grim. "The Centaurian High Council has officially recognized the Shadower incursion as an act of war. They're dispatching their defense fleet, but they won't arrive for another 48 hours. "We'll have to hold until then," Marcus replied. He turned to his tactical officer. "Deploy the quantum net." This was humanity's secret weapon, a vast network of quantum-linked satellites designed by Dr. Mitchell and enhanced by Centaurian insights. In theory, it could disrupt the Shadowers' advanced propulsion systems. In practice, it had never been tested against an actual alien threat. The first wave of Shadower ships emerged from quantum space, their dark hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. They moved with an organic fluidity that made targeting difficult, but their intent was clear, systematic elimination of all defense platforms. "Multiple impacts on Mars colony shield," Olivia reported. "Shield holding at 87%. Commander Hayes reports all civilians secured in underground bunkers." Marcus watched as the quantum net activated, its ethereal web of energy spreading across space. The effect on the shadower ships was immediate. Several vessels tumbled out of formation, their quantum drives temporarily disrupted. "It's working," Diana observed, "but they're adapting. Their secondary ships are already modifying their approach vectors." The battle for the solar system had begun. Earth's combined fleet, led by the flagship USI Prometheus, engaged the shadower vanguard. The space around Mars erupted in quantum fire as human determination met alien technological superiority. Dr. Mitchell's voice cut through the tactical chatter. "Admiral, we're detecting massive energy buildups from the Martian surface. The ancient network, it's responding to the attack." Across Mars, long-dormant structures began to activate. Massive defense platforms, hidden beneath millennia of dust, rose from the surface. The Cedars, it seemed, had left more than just messages and artifacts. "New quantum signatures detected," Olivier announced, "coming from inside the solar system." From the asteroid belt emerged a fleet of automated defenders, their designs clearly matching the Martian artifacts. The Cedars' ancient guardians had awakened, responding to the protocols encrypted in their core programming. The Shadowers' advance faltered as they found themselves caught between three forces: human ingenuity, Cedar technology, and their own failing quantum systems. But victory came at a cost. Several Earth ships were lost, their crews making the ultimate sacrifice to protect their species' future. In the midst of the chaos, Diana made a crucial discovery. The Martian artifacts weren't just defensive weapons, they were communication nodes. Working with Lyrian, she managed to broadcast a message across the ancient network. "The response is massive," she reported to Marcus. "We're detecting quantum signatures from dozens of systems. More Cedar sites are activating, the Shadowers, they're retreating." The dark ships began to withdraw, their carefully planned invasion disrupted by the combined forces of humanity, Centaurian allies, and ancient technology. As the quantum ruptures faded, Marcus allowed himself a moment of reflection. "Status report," he ordered. "Mars colony shields at 62% but holding. Civilian casualties minimal. 4 Earth ships lost, 7 damaged but repairable. The quantum net is stable and the Cedar platforms are fully operational." Olivia's voice carried a mix of exhaustion and pride. Diana's next words captured the magnitude of what had occurred. "The Shadowers didn't just fail to eliminate us, they've revealed our true strength. The activation of the Cedar network has changed the balance of power in this sector of space." As the adrenaline of battle faded, the implications became clear. Humanity had not just survived its first interstellar war, it had helped awaken an ancient defense system that would reshape galactic politics. Dr. Mitchell's team was already studying the activated Cedar platforms, while Commander Hayes coordinated repairs to the Mars colony. The Centaurian fleet arrived to find not a defeated outpost, but a transformed solar system, bristling with awakened technology and battle-tested defenders. "The Shadowers will return," Lyrian warned during the post-battle conference. "But they will find a very different humanity waiting for them." Marcus looked out at the changed landscape of their solar system. Human ships patrolling alongside ancient guardians, Centaurian vessels docked at Earth stations, and the quantum net shimmering with protective energy. "Then we'll be ready," he replied. "Today was just the beginning." As recovery operations began, news of the victory spread throughout human space. The species that had taken its first steps into the cosmos less than a decade ago had now proven itself worthy of its place among the stars. The next phase of human history was about to begin. 1 year after the Orion crisis, the gleaming spires of New Geneva rose from the Martian surface, its quantum-reinforced crystal domes housing the first galactic assembly. Ambassador Diana Rodriguez stood at the podium, addressing representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations. The chamber itself was a testament to the fusion of multiple technologies: human innovation, Centaurian architecture, and restored Cedar artifacts. The activation of the defense network was not just about survival, Diana declared. It was a signal, a message from the past to the future. The Cedars didn't just prepare our worlds for life, they prepared us for each other. Dr. Alina Mitchell, now head of the Interspecies Technology Exchange, presented the latest findings from their study of the Cedar artifacts. The ancient race had engineered a vast network of worlds, each serving as a cradle for different species. Their goal wasn't just preservation, it was orchestrated evolution. Every civilization here developed along paths subtly guided by Cedar technology, Alina explained. Not to make us all the same, but to ensure we could understand and complement each other when we finally met. The evidence was compelling. Human quantum drive research, Centaurian crystal computing, and dozens of other technological achievements had been quietly shepherded by dormant Cedar artifacts. Even the Shadowers, it turned out, were part of the grand design. Their aggression had forced cooperation among the younger races. Commander Hayes, speaking from the Mars Colony Control Center, reported on the ongoing integration of human settlements with the awakened Cedar infrastructure. The terraforming process has accelerated beyond our wildest predictions. Within a generation, Mars will have a breathable atmosphere. But it was Admiral Chen's presentation that captured the Assembly's full attention. The combined fleet exercises had proven that different species technologies could work in perfect harmony when properly integrated. The quantum net, originally designed to defend Earth, now formed the backbone of an interstellar defense coalition. "We propose a unified response force," Marcus announced. "Not just for defense, but for exploration, rescue, and scientific advancement." The proposal sparked intense debate. Some species, particularly those who had suffered under Shadower aggression, advocated for a purely military alliance. Others pushed for a focus on cultural and scientific exchange. It was Dr. Victor Rossi who offered a compelling compromise. "The Cedars left us more than technology," he said, presenting his latest archaeological findings. "They left us a roadmap for cooperation. Each of our civilizations possesses pieces of a greater whole." The Galactic Federation took shape over the following months. New Geneva became its capital, while specialized centers of research and development spread across member worlds. Dr. Zhang's terraforming techniques, combined with Centaurian environmental science, began transforming hostile planets into habitable worlds. Lyrian, now serving as the Centaurian Federation ambassador, worked closely with Diana to establish the interstellar cultural exchange. "Our differences are not obstacles," they observed. "They are the source of our greatest innovations." The Helios drive, enhanced by contributions from multiple species, evolved into the Unity drive, capable of crossing the galaxy in weeks instead of years. Trade routes flourished, and with them came an unprecedented exchange of ideas and cultures. But perhaps the most profound change was in humanity's perspective. The species that had once gazed at the stars in wonder now played a central role in shaping galactic civilization. Earth's universities became centers for multispecies education, while Mars served as a living laboratory for cooperative development. 10 years after the first successful test of the Helios drive, Alina Mitchell stood in her laboratory at the Quantum Research Complex, watching a new generation of scientists, human and alien, work together on projects that would have seemed impossible a decade ago. "We didn't just reach for the stars," she reflected. "We found our place among them." The Federation faced ongoing challenges. The Shadowers remained a threat, though a diminished one. New species continued to emerge into quantum-capable status, each requiring careful integration into the galactic community. Ancient Cedar sites still awaited discovery, holding unknown technologies and challenges. But humanity had found its role, not as conquerors or subjects, but as bridge builders. The adaptability and creativity that had helped humans survive on Earth now helped forge connections between vastly different species and cultures. Diana, preparing for another session of the Galactic Assembly, summarized the transformation in her personal log. "We came into space looking for new worlds to inhabit. Instead, we found our true purpose, helping to build a civilization that spans the stars." The quantum sensors that had once detected the approach of hostile ships now monitored the constant flow of peaceful traffic between worlds. The defense platforms stood vigilant but largely quiet, their presence a reminder of the cooperation that had emerged from conflict. As the sun set on Mars, casting long shadows through New Geneva's crystal domes, members of a dozen species gathered in the memorial garden. Here, among monuments to those lost in the journey to the stars, representatives of the Federation renewed their commitment to the future they were building together. The age of isolation was over. The age of unity had begun. And humanity, having found its place in the cosmic community, looked to the future with hope and purpose. The stars that had once seemed so distant now served as beacons, guiding the way to humanity's greatest adventure, not just exploring the cosmos, but helping to shape its destiny.